Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Friday. It's January the 26th. It's only noontime. I'm done today. I'm quitting early. It's turned out to be an okay day. It started off really slow. I just really had to sit here from about 7 o'clock on, and then right at the open we got kind of hung in this stuff. And there is a failed second entry short here, and I got a couple of questions about it, so I'm guessing several people got trapped here, and I almost got trapped there. I wanted to take that because it's very rare those things fail, but it was right at the open, and look, and look how flat that EMA was right there, and so it gets emotional right at the open, and anything can happen. So I just, because of all the overlap, and even though it was a nice reversal type bar, I just sat tight. Even if you did get stuck in it, you had multiple chances to get out of it. Um, it was like a four-tick failure unless you used a limit order, which would have been the smart thing to do there. To be honest with you, because but usually on a trap, you don't get a chance to use a limit order very often. But that would have been the key here, to use the limit order, and then you would have gotten out of that one even if you just put it at the top of the bar. If you got one tick in, you got out with a tick to spare. So you might have entered that trade right there and not got trapped. But I got so many questions about it. I'm guessing a lot of people took the trap and ended up getting trapped. But when it made this double top here and this closed way down here, get out with a tick or whatever it gives you, or break even and move on. You still could have survived this. It never did break below that bar, so it really wasn't a failure. And I've seen that a few times, but it's very rare that one of these. So you know what? I'm even going to go ahead and I'm almost considering myself just a chicken little for not taking it, because it doesn't fail very often. And even though prices came back to here, it really didn't fail this time. So that's good enough for me. And then you got a failed second entry short again right here, and look at how easy that one was. It took it a minute to get up there, but you can't ignore those trades. You just can't ignore them. And but let's talk about the trades. I saw this channel working down. This looked like a break here, but I wasn't convinced that that was good enough, because maybe the line is up here like so, and then you don't really have a break. But I'm guessing we had a break here. I was thinking we had a break, but maybe we didn't, because then we had this little correction, and then we do get the new low, and we've been trending up ever since. And there's a possibility, it doesn't look, maybe there you've got this little bit moving across here like so. And if you copy that and drag it up, maybe we've got a bigger channel working here, and that's what we're working on. I don't know. If we go lower from here and come, then I would say, hey, yeah, this looks kind of valid. But I'm not sure that's valid. There's not enough price action to verify it, really. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the key is drawing these shorter trend ones, and you can see every one of them worked. You had a break and a new low there, which led to this little spiking channel. This thing kind of spiked up and went into this channel. We got a break, a new high, and then we started coming down. And we overshot this one and kind of made a second, like one of those two-tiered ones that we've been seeing a lot of lately. And we did still come back and test that trend line, and then we started trading up. So there hadn't really been a retest on this one. But maybe this retest was really back from here. I don't know. It's just hard to say. So, but draw your channels, because that'll help keep you on the right side. And you would have at least known not to. And look, there's no short right in here. Even when it came back to this, you might have been tempted to go short here. But when that second entry failed right there, let me move that. You can see there, first entry, we had a little pullback and then went lower again. When that failed right there, especially if you'd have drawn that trend channel and drug it down, you can see it bouncing off that. And a lot of people were looking for prices to go lower. They were looking for that retest evidently, and it just didn't happen. So But let's talk about the trades. I already talked about this one. It was a little bit aggressive. It was in a downtrend, but we did have what I thought was a break and a new low, and that's a nice reversal bar, but this one couldn't break above it. Um, so what would have been probably the ideal thing to do was, if we did break above, try to use a limit order. I didn't take this trade. This was the very first trade I took because I talked myself out of both of these. Then you had the failed second entry. Those traps very rarely ever don't get your 4 ticks. And even today, even if you didn't get out up here off this double top, it still worked. And then you had another same thing right here. You got a new high, pullback, first entry. Well, actually, it's a first entry short, then a second entry short off a double top, and then it reverses, and it's a failure. So it's a trap, and it's just like this one right here almost, and boom, off it goes. So you had your trend line break, a new high. I didn't like going short below the little doji, but when this thing set up right here, I waited on a break below it and used a limit order. It moved on down pretty quickly. Then you had a two-legged pullback right back up here, made a double top, turn down. What I liked about this one was being able to go short, putting your stop here and catching it all through the same break. If it would have stopped there, I don't know if I would have liked that trade, but the fact that it went straight on through, that's showing strength. And you see where it closed way down here, and it just had to kind of chop on down that trend line because it's getting support right there. It finally bounces, and guess what? Any runners were safe on this trade, and this one too. And you could have ridden these all the way down. And this is where I did well on this one right here, because I added another one right here, and look at that, right off the trend line, nice reversal bar. Because this one didn't break lower, you might have tried a limit order here, but a lot of times you get left behind. And I didn't even hesitate on that one. I just put a stop in there, and boom, there it went. I didn't know it was going to break on through like that and just keep going, but it did. And I exited in all this chop right here, but it went a little bit lower. But you don't always get it off. You wait till you try to get it all, next thing you know, it's way back up here again. So generally, once we get down and touch the line, if it starts overlapping multiple bars, I'll just exit. But guess what? You got a chance to enter again right here, because notice this new high. This high is higher than that one. We made a new high there on that pullback. So a first entry long, pullback, second entry long, all those guys trying to pick bottoms got trapped right there. And when it turned down, we used their stops to get one more quick scalp. And so even though I exited, I got the rest of that. So that's how you do it. That's the way I like to do it anyway. And then we've been working up. I really thought we'd probably get a retest here, but we never really got a setup to go short. And then you got the trap to the short side. And notice this, you got a new high, first entry, pull back, second entry, and then it turns up, break above that bar. And this is one where I used the limit order, and you got a chance to get in there on it. Let me make this a little bigger and get that out of the way. But this bar right here almost serves as a breakout pullback long. Notice that little double top right there, and we broke out above it, all this overlap. We broke out above it, pulled back, and then we broke above that. So you might have considered going long right there as well. I didn't like it enough to add on. And this is your signal bar. I've been getting a lot of questions about the signal bars, but those should be obvious. That's just basic stuff. If you don't even understand the signal bar, you need to read the manual a little closer. The signal bar is just the bar that sets up the trade, and generally you want it to be a trend bar in your direction, meaning if we're going short, we want it to look like that. If we're going long, we want it to look like that, real green. And the stem on the lower side, or going short, the stem on the upper side. So I'm circling the signal bar will always be the bar that's circled, and really there's a couple. All these bars have the same high, but this was the bar we entered on, and so it'll be the highest point of that swing. So even though we entered on this bar, this is really the signal bar, and our stop goes right there. It's always the highest bar or the lowest bar of the swing. If we entered down above this bar, it'd be right there. And because we entered above this bar, your stop goes right below it. This one, it goes below those two. So, and I like this trade because it's a breakout pullback. And this is another one that people get confused on. So let me show you. When prices start going higher, look for the resistance to happen at the previous highs. Here's your previous high. And so when prices broke above that, look what happened. They pulled back. See that? They pull back and test those highs right there. That's a breakout pullback because it broke above that. And, you know, when it's closer together like here, it's easier to see. But this is the same thing on a bigger picture. You got resistance right there. We broke above it, we pulled back and tested, and we went higher. And that's a breakout pullback long right off the trend line. And so I liked it. And look at it go. And my guess is we're heading to fill this overnight gap. There's a gap up here from yesterday, where we closed yesterday. And actually it's right there. And so that's where I'm guessing prices are headed. But you can't ignore this channel. Look how we bounced off of it every time. So I didn't like the entry here because there was too much overlap. But there was a little, see that little break higher and it pulls back. A break above that's a breakout pullback long. So I don't really like that setup. But it is a more aggressive breakout pullback long. So I'll mark it. And if you take that trade, the stop has to go below that signal bar there, so or as close as you can get it with 2 points. So, but as long as this channel's in play, we got to pay attention to it, and you want to keep trading it. And this was really kind of a two-legged pullback right there with a nice bar. And you see it gapped above it. It's coming back now. To try to fill that little gap, which usually will happen. And that's what I saw today. This little move right here made a lot of money, and there were some other scalps in here afterwards. But that was these were the money makers right here today. And it's Friday, so I'm wrapping it up early, going to get out of here early. And I hope you had a good trading day. And I hope you had a good trading week. I got an email from one gentleman. He's had an excellent week. His trading is really going well. He's really picked this stuff up, and I think he's right there on the cusp. He keeps sending me his profit matrix. It shows his little trend, you know, his little graph on his profit, and I'm impressed. I'm real impressed. So he knows who he is. He knows who I'm talking about. He's doing a great job. So keep it up. I guess that's it for today. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back to do it on Monday. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.